Watch how this man comes face to face with danger and manages to escape a kidnapping attempt in the most unbelievable way. On a peaceful afternoon in South Africa, a man walked alone down the street, unaware that his life was in danger. You can see a security guard from a nearby residence who heard the noise. Grabbing his gun, he decided to check what was happening. The guard had just stopped a kidnapping in progress. But in the chaos, he couldn't tell who was the victim and who were the suspects. For his own safety, he commanded the man to lie down and wait for the police to arrive. The parked black vehicle had been followed by dangerous robbers, and things were about to take a very bad turn for the driver. The driver stepped out of his vehicle, unaware that he was being watched. They seemed to know exactly what was inside the vehicle. It's possible they had watched the man withdraw a large amount of money, or maybe someone from the bank tipped them off, something that's sadly common in South Africa. One of the suspects took out an object from the car, pulling out a tool to smash the window. Everything about their actions showed planning. They were prepared, and the getaway car was already reversing. It was clear they wanted something inside the car. They kept hitting the window, trying to break it and get away fast. They managed to snatch the bag, but fortunately, the owner was left unharmed. The next video, filmed on a cell phone in Durban, South Africa, shows 4 men moving in a certain direction, possibly after spotting the victim. This kind of incident has become increasingly common in South Africa in recent years. Criminals often target vehicles in busy areas like this, where drivers have little to no chance of escaping. They manage to rob the driver in broad daylight. What's shocking is how the crowd watched without reacting, a sign of how common this has become. Situations like these show why you should always be alert and avoid letting anyone stand too close to you in a store. The footage shows a young girl standing as if she's on a mission, alongside a woman old enough to be her mother. Together, they appear to target an elderly woman's handbag. In a quick move, the young girl snatches the cell phone without anyone noticing. It's heartbreaking to see children being taught to steal at such a young age. In broad daylight, a group of men stormed into a restaurant in South Africa. They quickly spread out across the restaurant, forcing customers to comply while collecting cash and valuables. One woman carefully placed her handbag out of sight, a sign that incidents like this are all too common at this restaurant. The robbers moved carelessly, almost as if this wasn't their first time targeting the place. Thankfully, no one was injured during the ordeal. This security officer came face to face with an armed gang. What happened next looked like something straight out of a movie.
Hello.
From another angle, the footage shows the officer's courage as he confronts the attackers. An encounter these thugs will remember for a long time. Thanks to this officer from Blue Security in Durban, South Africa, no one was injured. His bravery reminds us of Leo Prinsloo, the man who famously stood his ground against armed robbers. On the left side of the screen, 2 camera angles tell the story. A white car overtaking the one driven by Leo Prinsloo. It's later used to block the cash transport vehicle. In the rear view camera, a black car approaches rapidly, and seconds later, gunfire breaks out. A cash in transit heist has just begun.
the gun.
The white vehicle had already blocked the road ahead, and its occupants had stepped out carrying assault rifles. He narrowly missed one of the robbers, just inches away from being hit by the car. Gunfire erupted from every angle, but the armored car held strong, no one was hurt, and the robbers left empty-handed. These carjackers thought they had an easy target, but they were wrong. Reversing into your driveway is always advised. It makes it easier to escape quickly in situations like this. Moments after a wife returned home from work, but before the gate could close, armed men stormed in, demanding the car keys. What followed caught the carjackers completely off guard. The suspect in the white shirt went straight for the driver, trying to forcefully pull her out of the car, while the other stayed calm, pretending nothing was happening in case someone was watching. The robbers seemed to struggle to get the car keys. You can see the tension. They're running out of time, and the neighbors might already be watching. Luckily, no one was harmed in this incident. However, confronting armed criminals is never advised. It could have ended very badly. After dropping off a passenger, the driver had no idea he was being watched. Just a few meters away, carjackers were waiting. But what happened next caught them off guard. The suspects decided to approach the car, unaware that things were about to change very quickly. They decided to block the car, thinking they had him trapped, but the driver had other plans. He pulled off a quick escape, and no one was harmed. Unfortunately, the next victim didn't have the same luck. After closing the gate, the man walked toward his car, completely unaware of the danger he was about to face. The driver puts up a fight, refusing to give up his car without resistance. Moments later, a second vehicle arrives. The carjackers clearly came prepared. If you look closely, this took place in the same location as the previous clip. The suspects intended to use the second car to trap the victim in case he escaped the first vehicle. The man you see running just mugged an innocent victim, and moments later, the crowd decides to teach him a lesson he won't forget. That driver made sure the suspect wouldn't leave the scene so easily. Watch how these robbers forced the workers to open the security door and made off with large sums of cash. The footage shows a woman in distress, hesitating as she tries to decide whether to open the security door. You can see the suspects rushing in just as she opens the door. The last man appears to be holding someone hostage, likely using that person to intimidate the workers and force them to comply. After trapping everyone in the small office and taking their phones, the suspects started to search the area for valuables. Everyone made it out safely, but one can't help but wonder, was this planned from the inside? In South Africa, that possibility is more common than many realize. This scene reveals exactly how carjackers work. Reminder to always stay alert and aware of your surroundings while driving. Surveillance video captures the suspects patiently waiting for their selected target. The moment the victim's vehicle approaches, they move in. These types of vehicles are often targeted in South Africa, so it's best to avoid known hijacking hotspots. Watch how these robbers get completely outsmarted by this young woman. This incident took place in Johannesburg. Moments after being dropped off by an Uber, this young woman was about to face something truly terrifying. Another vehicle can be seen approaching, and what happens next shows just how dangerous things can get in South Africa. The footage shows two men exiting the car and heading directly for the young woman. From another angle, the footage captures the moment the young girl steps out of the car. Fortunately, the young woman was alert and reacted quickly. She rushed inside the building and escaped unharmed. Watch how this Uber driver in South Africa finds himself in a truly terrifying situation.
Just coming from home. I'm just coming from home. I was at home.
The robbers can be heard demanding money from the driver, but he tries to explain that he doesn't have any. Their reaction makes it clear that's not what they wanted to hear. The man sitting in the back seat steps out, taking matters into his own hands as he searches the driver. This happened in broad daylight. In South Africa, there are certain areas where Uber drivers avoid going. They're often targeted by criminals. This video serves as a reminder of why it's so important to stay vigilant in South Africa. The footage shows a man walking toward a delivery driver on a motorcycle. He hesitates for a moment, and what happens next leaves everyone in shock. A dash cam records a terrifying scene, a truck hijacking in broad daylight on the streets of South Africa. The truck driver can be seen patiently waiting for his colleagues who are still inside the building, making a delivery. Out of nowhere, a man jumps into the parked truck and seizes the driver's arm, catching him completely off guard.
It's like everything you want.
What do you have in the bag?
My stuff is here.
What's in there? What for your? How much? Don't worry.
Let me give you this.
Take that for granted. I'll shoot you in the head. Yeah, don't worry.
More robbers climbed into the truck, grabbed the driver's cell phone, and took control of the vehicle. This video shows why it's crucial to leave enough space between cars at night. that extra distance can save you from a possible attack. A group of men suddenly crossed a busy intersection, going straight for cars stopped at the red light. What followed was truly shocking. They managed to grab what appears to be a handbag from the first car, then quickly moved on to the second vehicle. These robbers often target women or anyone driving alone in South Africa. Watch how a group of armed robbers boldly went after a motorist carrying cash in the heart of Johannesburg. When they heard gunfire, the occupants rushed out of the car and ran off, leaving the cash behind. The robbers took the money the driver was carrying, and in South Africa, cases like this often involve inside help from bank employees. Watch how these thieves snatch a phone from an unsuspecting victim. A white vehicle approaches a stop sign. Behind a nearby tree, a man walks toward a woman in an orange top, completely unaware of what's about to happen. In moments like this, bystanders can only watch. These criminals know exactly how to escape after the snatch, making it difficult to stop them. Fortunately, the woman wasn't hurt. A businessman in South Africa was targeted in broad daylight. 4 suspects step out of the vehicle and walk straight toward the businessman. It's clear they had been monitoring his movements closely. After taking the car keys, one suspect runs toward the victim's vehicle. It becomes clear that a hijacking is underway. They even demanded his cell phone, and with assault rifles in their hands, saying no was not an option. They quickly reversed the car but seemed to struggle to control it. Realizing they were running out of time, one of them switched drivers. This kind of vehicle is a common target for criminals across South Africa. Another businessman was targeted in East London, South Africa. Pramesh Hookah, the owner of Auto Styling, was kidnapped while closing his business, at a time when kidnappings were on the rise in East London. An Uber driver was targeted in South Africa. The entire incident captured on dash cam. The driver's instincts told him something wasn't right. He touched his seatbelt, ready for anything. Until he heard the suspect calling his mother, he let his guard down. And that was his biggest mistake. He was about to face a truly terrifying situation. Suddenly, the suspect pulls a taser and attacks the driver, while his accomplice snatches the cell phone. They pulled the driver out and tried to take the car, but their plan failed. Luckily, the driver escaped without injury. This happened in El Dorado Park, an area where many Uber drivers face similar risks. A thug attacked a woman carrying a baby on her back in broad daylight in South Africa. The video captures a man in a red top trailing a woman who seems nervous, possibly realizing he's following her. On a quiet afternoon in this peaceful suburb, he thought he had found an easy target. Moments later, a car drives slowly around the corner, seemingly waiting to pick up the suspect after the robbery. Realizing he was running out of time, he decided to make a move. The residents quickly responded to the noise, forcing the robber to flee empty-handed. Thankfully, both the mother and her baby escaped unharmed. In this clip, the robbers move in swiftly, hijacking the driver moments after he arrives, before he could even make it inside the property. A car comes from behind at high speed and stops suddenly. 3 men jump out, and one runs straight to the driver's side. The security officer can be seen running off, likely to alert the police, and that's the right move. In moments like these, trying to be a hero can make things worse. His job is access control, ensuring only the right people enter or leave the property. Opening the gate without confirming it's safe could expose other tenants to serious danger. A delivery driver in Johannesburg found himself the victim of a brazen attack. This kind of setup is common in South Africa. The robbers placed the order themselves using a nearby address. They stole his phone and delivery bike, leaving him shaken but unharmed. This final video is a reminder of why it's so important to always stay aware of your surroundings. Surveillance footage shows a man at a filling station approaching a white SUV as the petrol attendant busy filling the tank. While the driver is busy on his phone, he remains unaware that trouble is approaching. In a split second, before the driver could react, the suspect snatched his cell phone. The getaway car was already waiting.